Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Friday morning to you all. Hope you guys are getting up and feeling well this morning on this Friday morning. It is Friday, so we're all thankful for that as we're about to head into another weekend. Got you an update this morning on what is expected weather-wise, as we always do in the mornings. We're just going to break down each region. I'm not expecting a very active day. No big time severe weather outbreaks or anything like that. Probably one of the more quieter days of the week so far. Tomorrow is actually going to be a pretty active day, especially across portions of the north central U.S. where there's already been an enhanced risk that was actually dropped yesterday. So it just goes to show you that we're going to have a big severe weather threat across portions of the country tomorrow. We'll discuss that in later videos for sure. But if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. As always, I gotta throw that in there, guys. If you've ever considered joining the channel, certainly do that. I got a new goal. I kind of quit doing this, and I apologize for mentioning this all the time, but I kind of got to throw this in there occasionally. Had around 21, 22 members to the channel. It's dropped to about 15 or 14 now. I understand it's pretty hard times, and not everybody has money to throw at a random channel on YouTube, so I certainly get it. But I got a goal for the end of August to try to get back to that 20 threshold of people who are joining my channel. So certainly consider doing that. If not, I really just appreciate you guys tuning in. But if you guys got anything that I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. That's the most important thing of all of this. So definitely do that. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. I got a woman who is very active in the comments, whose prayer request was answered as far as her housing situation. I think she lives in Ohio. But her prayers were answered, and she's been asking for prayers for, it seems, 2 or 3 months now, and just goes to show you that God is good, so we're all thankful for that. But hit me up on social media, Twitter, Facebook, great way to interact with what I do, especially when it gets much more active. But let's get rolling this morning. I know y'all got things to do, jobs to get to, things like that. Here we go, water vapor loop, and not showing a whole lot. It doesn't really tell us the picture of what's going on, but we got some convection, a little upper spin here in the southeast. It's just been promoting a lot of showers and storms. There's been some showers and storms here in my neck of the woods here in South Carolina this morning, and we just got disturbances moving across portions of the country. So we're going to talk a little bit about those two areas in this video, but this is for today, not a very active day. A couple areas that we need to watch out for that has a marginal risk. But other than that, just you don't see any slight risk, which is that level 2 out of 5. Little region up here in the north central U.S., including portions of the Dakotas and Minnesota, and then right here in the Midwest and areas of the Central Plains, a marginal risk. And then you got an area you need to watch out for in the interior Northeast, including states like New York State, Pennsylvania, and a very small section of West Virginia and Ohio. But everywhere else, just a general risk of thunderstorms in the light green. That doesn't mean that you're not going to see maybe a strong severe storm or two in these areas. It just means that the chances are certainly much lower. So not a very active day. It really isn't. I'm not even going to really pull up the excessive rainfall outlook because nobody's really in a slight risk, just a couple of marginal areas that just could see downpours. But heat advisories up for the heart of the country. We're certainly going to see pretty warm weather in this area, but I can tell you, you notice in Texas, the heat advisories, there's a few counties that have it. Maybe this gets extended more into Texas, but in general, it's going to be hot in Texas still. But if you compare today over the last 2 weeks, I think it's going to be noticeably a little bit cooler. We're all thankful yesterday, a lot of areas of Arkansas and Oklahoma especially, and even areas of northeast Texas, saw some rains yesterday. I'm sure not everybody got rain, but I saw a lot of videos on social media, people out there dancing in the rain, just very happy that they got some rain. Some areas got their first rains in about a month and a half in Oklahoma. I mean, that's something you hear about in California and the desert Southwest, but it just goes to show you how hot and dry it's been in these areas. So hopefully, if you're viewing, hopefully you got rain yesterday. But the entire state of Missouri, heat advisories, and then just a lot of areas that have heat advisories. But an area that's not super common that has a heat advisory, that's been having heat advisories over the last few days, is southern New England and parts of the I-95 corridor, Long Island, areas of Delaware. There is a small area of Delaware, but I meant to say New Jersey. I think somewhere in New Jersey could get to 100 degrees a day. I really do think they can. We'll see if that happens in several counties in eastern North Carolina with heat advisories today. But almost this whole state of Massachusetts, the whole state of Connecticut, the whole state of Rhode Island has heat advisories today, and this also includes big cities like Boston, New York City. So definitely need to watch out for the heat today. But let's go on and take a look at how this can unfold today. I'm not expecting very active weather in the southeast. This is your typical afternoon, evening downpours in Florida. This is very typical weather for you guys. As I always mention, the whole entire state has a threat to see it. But really, one of the most interesting features in the southeast today is this little bit of a spin down here in southern Mississippi that's going to affect areas of southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and southeast Louisiana that could, bring some tropical downpours to you folks, especially southern Mississippi. This could drop a lot of rain kind of fast today. Maybe an area or two could see an inch and a half of rain. And these could be, some intense thunderstorms today. You just got to watch out this little upper spin that's kind of pivoting an enhanced area of moisture. Then you're just going to have afternoon isolated storms that could potentially pop up in the Carolinas and Georgia. But once you get a little further north in Tennessee, Kentucky, I'm not expecting widespread showers or storms today. But in general, the HRRR model has not been performing the best, but really no models are doing the best. All you can do is look at these models, and that's why. And I'm not going to go on my soapbox here again, guys, but that's why it's important to just download a reliable radar app, whether that's Radar Omega, Radar Scope, which is what I got, My Radar, which I think is free. You can look at these hourly forecasts until the cows come home, but they're not going to be pinpoint accurate. You look at your hourly forecast, it says a 65% chance of rain, and then when it ain't raining, you want it throughout the whole line. Well, with meteorologists is the only job where you can keep your job and be right half the time. I hear this so often at work when I'm just kind of doing my daily job, and deep down it kind of aggravates me, but it's not enough for me to kind of retaliate or anything like that or argue with a person. But I just let people believe whatever they want to believe. It's a lot more difficult. There's a higher difficulty level than what I think your common person thinks with forecasting weather. But anyways, I'll get off that here. But the Northeast, pretty quiet weather today. We'll watch for some afternoon strong to severe storms in New York State, Pennsylvania, but they are not going to be very scattered and just widespread. They're very isolated, but the one or two that do form, I wouldn't say one or two, there could be several that form, could be strong to severe, especially in New York State and just anywhere in Pennsylvania. But you're going to be hoping for an afternoon shower storm in New Jersey to cool you guys off today because it's going to be very hot. South Central U.S., pretty quiet weather in general, except this little spin right here from this upper low that could potentially have enhanced moisture in Louisiana and Mississippi. But, I'm not expecting widespread rains in Oklahoma and Texas and Arkansas today. But just east of Dallas-Fort Worth could certainly see some showers and storms. Southern Arkansas, maybe around Shreveport, maybe some showers and storms develop today. We're all hopeful for that. And if they do, hopefully they'll be below severe limits and you just get good old-fashioned heavy rain. The north central U.S., I think the pattern gears up for what happens tomorrow. But today, maybe an isolated severe storm or two in southern Nebraska and northern Kansas. But in general, pretty quiet. Maybe this evening the weather starts to get more active as a piece of energy starts to swing through, which sets up the stage for this enhanced risk in this part of the country tomorrow. But maybe sometime just after midnight or around midnight, some showers and storms develop in southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. We'll watch for that. Temperatures today pretty hot across the southeast. I think it'll be a good tick, more than a tick above average in areas of the Delmarva, New Jersey, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Virginia. I think you'll really feel it today. Maybe an area hits 100 degrees in Virginia, New Jersey. Very warm temperatures. And southern New England, I was bragging about how the Northeast was really getting the good weather this summer, but you guys have certainly been hot this week. Y'all have been definitely making up for lost ground here with this being a very warm week, probably one of the warmest weeks of the summer so far up in the Northeast, especially southern New England. And like I said, still hot temperatures across the middle of the country. It's still hot, guys, well into the hundreds in certain areas. But I don't think it'd be quite as hot today. I really don't. But there will be an area of rain-cooled air down here, kind of a pocket of just cloudiness and rain-cooled air in areas of Alabama and Mississippi, where you won't get quite as hot, but it will still be very humid. And like I said, the Northeast, very hot today. I think someone in New Jersey hits 100 degrees, maybe even Delaware. Areas of Maryland, especially central to eastern Maryland, the Delmarva area, like I mentioned, and then the whole entire valley going all the way up into New York State, where you're in lower elevations, will climb into the 90s. It's going to be kind of like a day like yesterday, almost identical. We'll briefly talk about this tomorrow. An enhanced risk. This includes Minneapolis and a large portion of Wisconsin, Minnesota, and even a very small section of Iowa. So very active weather expected tomorrow. We'll talk about this probably in the morning. I got a lot going on over the next probably 48 hours. Like I mentioned, it's been a very busy July. Very, very busy. I'm ready for things to pick up weather-wise, but at the same time, it's almost a blessing that hurricane season hasn't popped off early or anything like that. There hasn't been a lot to talk about because there's been a lot going on. Hopefully August is a little bit more calmer in the West household. But big threat tomorrow. And the biggest threat, it's going to be a tornado threat and a hail threat, but the biggest threat will be a damaging wind threat. So we'll watch to see if this increases. But there'll be a big complex of storms that drift southeast across this region that really promotes a big-time severe weather threat. Briefly, we'll talk about the tropics. This is the ensembles for the European model overnight. And in general, we'll just look at this and say, hey, there's a signal for a tropical wave to form and that potentially can make the long track across the tropical Atlantic and maybe get into the Lesser Antilles by the time we get into maybe the first days of August. But in general, you look at all these low pressures, they're well above 1,000 millibar low pressures. So to me, that tells me that I don't think basically the environmental conditions aloft at the surface. I mean, obviously the ocean temperatures are going to be supportive of tropical development like they always are this year for the most part. But I really don't think this is going to be a system that's going to threaten anybody. But I think this could potentially be a sign of things to come. But we'll continue to talk about that. We'll give you updates. There's no point in updating you on the tropics every single evening when not a whole lot changes from day to day. But we're getting closer to August, guys, so things are going to start to pick up. But it might be just your classic hurricane season where things don't really start to pick up until about mid to late August. So that's all I got, guys. I hope you guys have a great Friday. I'll try to get a video in this evening if I really think there's a topic to latch on to, but there's a lot going on. And anyways, have a great day, guys. Stay blessed, and talk to y'all soon.